This is Gemara and Eruvin Daf Lamed Gimel of Learning for Chodesh Elul is sponsored as a schos for Rosh Hashanah Teva Bas Esther and as well as schos for the Nishmas of Esther Rezel Bas Rameir. Of course, let's not forget our Cholim Yudemir ben Yakir Mani ben Vigam Chaim Avram Chanita Chaim ben Sarsham Zimri Yisrael So Brasina Divasim Chaisar Yischaim ben Esna Yisrael ben Mindel. They had the president Shadolei Shalmi Bas Naomi B'Shafi with Shirchanim Faldav Mini Teriva Daniel ben Chana Rezel B'Soich Shar Cholei Yisrael. We pick it up from the bottom over here, Alamid Beis and Beis. We're in the middle of discussing where you are placing your Erev Techumin. Erev Techumin is a bottle of wine, is a loaf of bread. You put it at the end of your 2,000 Amais. Your Kaina Shavisa, you can make that into your dwelling place, and then you extend the area that you're allowed to walk on Shabbos another 2,000 Amais. The Mishnah taught us that it depends whether the Erev, and now the case here, is that you put the Erev inside a tree, and the Mishnah discussed that the practical difference is going to be whether the Erev is above 10 Tvachim in the tree or below 10 Tvachim in the tree. As here you see such a beautiful tree, and you see the bottle of wine sitting there inside the tree, and this was the case of the Mishnah. We said if it's above 10 Tvachim, it's no good. If it's under 10 Tvachim, we said it's yes good. We already asked in yesterday's daf, but how is it under 10 Tvachim? Is it going to be good? You have to climb up the tree to get your Erev because you created your dwelling place at the foot of the tree. And the Gemara taught us we're going with the opinion of Rebbe, which holds that Isuri Derabanan you're allowed to do during Bein HaShemashos, and therefore you're going to be allowed to climb up during Bein HaShemashos, which is the time that determines whether you have an Erev, to go and get your bottle of wine to get your Erev. So now it comes like the Gemara on the bottom of Lamed Beis and Beis, Amar Rava. Lo Yishanu, Rava is going to further clarify and categorize the din in the Mishnah, further minimize it, I should say. Amar Rava. Lo Yishanu elo be'ilan ha'oimeid chutz li'iburei shel ir. This discussion in the Mishnah, and we're going to have some beautiful pictures today, courtesy of Kol Lashon. I think I sent it to almost all of you. Anyone else wants, please reach out. They actually just revamped them, the newest edition. I don't know if you realize the picture's a little bit clearer. Baruch Hashem. Says the Gemara, says Rava, the case we're discussing is only if the tree is outside the iburai, the extra ibur, like a pregnancy, the extra 70 and two-thirds amos outside the city. Aval, ilan ha'oimid, b'soich iburai shalir. Let's say the tree is within that area. Afilu l'mal me'asara, says Rava, massive chiddush. Harei Erev is still going to be good Erev. How's it good Erev? It's above 10 Tvachim. Rosh Hashanah only goes to 10 Tvachim. Demasa keman demal yadami. Again, reminding us of the Gemara in Shabbos days that the whole city is considered as if it's filled up, just like we saw there. I think it was the opinion of Rav Yochanan that we said that a house is considered keman demal yadami. A house is considered as if it's filled up, and therefore when you threw something through, if you remember the case, you threw it through the windows as if it stopped inside the house, because if it's filled up with chafatzim, and as if it stopped inside the house. Over here, says Rav, the case is keman demal yadami, if the whole city is filled up. Let's take a moment, pause, and see some wonderful, wonderful pictures. You see over here a city. That wasn't the wonderful part of it. You see over here a city, and as well you see that they show you the measurement from the city, 70 amos and shiraim, 70 and two-thirds amos. And this is going to be the difference whether the tree is going to be within this area over here, the right tree in front of you. Then we're going to say keman demal yadami, and then it's going to be even good if it's above 10 tvachim. Whereas over here on the left tree, which is outside of the 70 and two-thirds amos, then we say it's not going to be a good Erev, and that is the case of the Mishnah. Rav is clarifying the case of the Mishnah is your left tree, not your right tree, because your right tree would work even above 10 Tvachim. Says the Gemara, 1 second. If that is accurate, you just said, nami. Even if it's outside, it should still be good. How's it going to be good? Nothing's filling it up. Kivan Damarava, different din. When you create your Erev Techumin, we give you 4 amos. A dalan amos shaladim shalayu. We give you dalan amos, that is your area. So now that 4 amos, the square around you, that's Rosh Hashanah. If it sounds like you were playing shtick, we're not. These halachically, we view this as it works. Again, as you see over here, it's basically the same picture. If you study them carefully, there are minor nuances. They did a beautiful job with every detail in these pictures. But you see over here that the Dalit Amos, actually this is really the next picture. I'm sorry, we shouldn't jump the gun. Let's go back to this picture. Yes, we see over here, basically the Gemara is saying, Makim Shvisa, as you see over here, is you have your Dalit by Dalit around the tree, and therefore it should be Rakia. So why are you telling me even when it's within the 70 and two-thirds Amos, even this right tree should work even above 10 Tvachim? Answers the Gemara, Omar Rav Yitzchak Breder Masharshia We're discussing a case of a tree that is branches. Look at the last Rashi in the Amid. That the branch goes outside of your 4 amos. What's the case? Says Rav Yitzchak Breidram Meshashia, here is your case. When you're outside, the Iburoi Shalir, when you're outside, there's something to the Amos out of the city. When Rava taught us that is the case of the Mishnah, that above 10 Tfachim it's no good. Why is it no good if we say that your 4x4 goes up out of the Rakia? The reason is, you see so beautifully in this picture, that the branch goes outside of your 4 amos. Your 4 amos around you. But the tree, the branch of that tree, goes outside the 4 amos. And therefore the Eruv is sitting on top of that branch. You see so over here, you see that bottle of wine sitting over there. Oh, I'm sorry. You see that bottle of wine sitting over there on the top of that tree. And that bottle of wine is outside of your 4 amos. And that's the reason why it's true. Your 4 amos will go all the way out of the Rakia, your Rosh Hashanah. But the bottle of wine is outside of that area, and that's the reason why when it's above 10 Tfachim, it's not going to be a good Eruv. Moving along, the Gimel Amud Aleph says the Gemara, and we just explained what we just said, and the case is that you want to dwell at the foot of the tree, therefore you have your 4 amos going straight up, but the Eruv is outside of that on top of the branch. Says Gemara, mata. So what's above and below? Above 10 tefachim, under 10 tefachim. If it's on this one branch, then why is it above and below 10 tefachim? Says the Gemara, the hadar is zakif. Because it goes up, meaning the branch started below 10 tefachim, and then the branch turned up, like you saw inside the picture, and here's really the next picture. We'll just open this one up, and we'll start looking at it. As you see over here, it's the same picture here, just really playing out the next question of the Gemara. But as you see over here, the branch started below the 10 tefachim and then started going up above the 10 tefachim. So that's lamala and lamata. That is what it is referring to. Says the Gemara, and we'll go back to that picture in a minute. 1 second. Says the Gemara, why is it no good? We just said that therefore if it's above 10 tefachim, it's not a good Eruv. Ask the Gemara, why is it not a good Eruv? You could get that Eruv. What do you mean you could get that Eruv? Above 10 tefachim, outside of your Rishos, is not in your Rishos anymore. So how can you get it? So it says the Gemara, and we'll explain it as we look at this picture. Everything here is so beautiful in this picture. You see that imaginary box, that is your Rishos. That's your Daled by Daled, your 4x4 amos that goes out of the Rakia, that goes up to Shemayim. That's your personal Rosh Hashanah. You're living at the foot of the tree. The Eruv is above 10 Tefachim, outside of those Daled amos. Now, but what is the area under 10 Tefachim within Rosh Hashanah is going to be what? A Carmelis. A Carmelis, we know, the halacha of a Carmelis is, any area between 3 Tefachim and 10 Tefachim has a din of a Carmelis, that intermediary Rishos. As you see in this picture, absolutely beautifully. So you see here, your bottle of wine is stuck up there on the left side. How you get in there? It's in a different Rishos. The answer is, you climb up on that branch, which you're allowed to do Ben Hashmashais. Why are you allowed to do Ben Hashmashais? Because you're allowed to do Derabbanans Ben Hashmashais. You shimmy up the branch, you grab the bottle of wine, and then you shimmy down the branch. As you're going down the branch, what's going to happen? You're going to get into Carmelis world, which is an issue. That's an Issa Derabbanan. But it's only an Issa Derabbanan. You're not taking it into Rosh Hashanah, you're taking it into a Carmelis. And then it's going to miraculously get into your Rishos, and therefore ask the Gemara, even when the Eruv is above 10 Tefachim, why is it no good? Answers the Gemara, the case is Kisharavim Mikatfin Alav. The case is that the people use this branch to adjust their loads on it. Ukidula, like Ula taught us, Tamar Ula, Amod Tisha versus Rabim. The Rab Mikatfin Alav Zarg Ben Achakav Chayev, then it gets a din of a versus Rabim. And I mean, this one you don't really need the picture. But once we have it, we'll show it. As you see so beautifully in this picture, that area is not a Carmelis. That only worked would be if that area would be a Carmelis, would be Derabanan. But if Rabbi Mekatin Love, you see this person, he's putting down his load in that area, that gives that area a din of Rosh Hashanah. So now you could shimmy up that tree and you could get that bottle of wine, but the moment you bring it below 10 Tefachim, the moment you bring it within 3 and 9, even though normally it's a Carmelis, in this case it's going to be din Rosh Hashanah, and therefore you're not going to be allowed to do it. And that is the reason why when it's above 10 Tefachim, it's not going to be a good Eruv. Says the Gemara, actually let's just show one more picture. This is really a picture from Taisvis. If anyone wants to see Taisvis, you would appreciate this much more. We're not going to really discuss this, but basically Taisvis has a way that maybe you can even get the bottle of wine not just onto the Carmelis, but even all the way to the foot of the tree, as you're seeing in this picture. Ayin Sham Taisvis Divri Maschel Baha. Says the Gemara, my Rebbe, my Rabbanan. What is this Rebbe and Rabbanan? We started off yesterday and we learned that Rebbe says, Bein Hashmasha is allowed to be over Yisur Rabbanan. Where do we know this thing that Rebbe holds that Bein Hashmasha is allowed to be over Yisur Rabbanan? The Tanya that we learned in the Brayz. Nos nai be ilan lamal me'asar tfachim. This should sound familiar. Ein Eruvin. Lamat me'asar tfachim. Eruvin. Va'aser litlai b'soich shleisha. And you're not va'aser litlai. V'aser litlai. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. One more time. Lamata me'asar tfachim. Eruvin. If it's under 10 tfachim, it's a good eruv. Va'aser litlai. You can't take it. Why can't you take it? Because it's in a tree. B'soich shleisha. If it's within 3 tfachim, mutter litlai, then you're allowed to take it. Again, we've learned all these dinim in Gemara and Shabbos, very pashut, that once it's within 3 tfachim, then it's considered karka, aras samichta. So if it's part of the ground, then you're allowed to take it. Nasnai bekalkala, you put it inside a basket, v'taloi be'ilan, and you hang it on the tree, then I feel malam yasar tfachim, even when it's above 10 tfachim, eruv divrei Rabbi. It's a good eruv, says Rabbi. So this first part of the Brayz says Rabbi, and we see that Rabbi's teaching us that when it's under 10 tfachim, it's a good eruv. However, asur litlai. Now, when is it asur litlai? So Rashi here tells us asur litlai tomorrow on Shabbos. We'll see this clearly in the Gemara in a moment. If you're not allowed to take this eruv, ain't eruv. It's not a good eruv. What's this case that the Chachamim said that when you're not allowed to take it, it's not a good eruv? If you're going to go in the seifa, which is the case of the seifa, in the case of the box, in the case of the basket that's hanging on the tree, and the Chacham are teaching us that it's no go. So you're going to tell me that stadim are asur according to the Rabbanan? Again, what are stadim? We know we have a tree. We have stadim and sidei stadim. We spoke about this extensively in Gemara and Shabbos, that if the basket is hanging directly off the tree, the basket is the stadim, the side of the tree. Then there's like called sidei stadim. You put a peg in the tree and hang the basket off the peg. Sidei stadim, we spoke about then. Everyone holds sidei stadim is mutter. That's halach l'maisa. Stadim was a machlekes in the Gemara and Shabbos, whether the stadim, the side of the tree, are mutter aser. L'maskana, we have to paskin it is aser. The Gemara is asking that if the Rabbanan held that stadim was aser, like the Gemara just proposed, that when the Chachamim said it's aser means on the seifa, on the basket, then why there in the Gemara and Shabbos didn't we bring these Rabbanan as a proof to that opinion that held it's aser? Over there we had a machlekes. We have to have came out that l'maskana it is aser. So why don't we say, whoa, we have opinion of the Chachamim that say it's aser? So it's great to have opinion of the Rabbim, and we did not say that. So therefore says the Gemara, it can't be that the Chachamim are going in the seifa. Ela Reisha, the Chachamim are going in the first part of the Braysa. Hi Elon Echidami. Says the Gemara, where is this tree? Where's the tree? Again, the Reisha said, if it's above 10, it's no good. If it's under 10, it's yes good. What is good if it's under 10? You're allowed to have an eruv, says Rabbi. Says the Chachamim, no. Said Rabbi, you can't take it tomorrow. Say the Chachamim, because you can't take the eruv tomorrow, it's not a good eruv today. Says the Gemara, eat the last bar, ba. If the tree is not 4x4, makam turu. We know anything which is not 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim is not a din of Rosh Hashanah, it's a makam tur. And therefore it should be okay. And if it is 4x4, kinasa b'kakola may have it. Who cares that you put it inside a basket? It's its own rishos. Amaravina reisha disbe'arba. The case of the reisha is where the basket is 4x4. Seifa, the case of the seifa of the basket is the less be'arba. Is where it's not 4x4. So what does the basket do for us? The kalkala mashlim masay larba, and the basket is mashlim, completes it to be 4 tfachim. Before we flip over to the next amud, before we go to amud beis, let's take one moment to see 2 important Rashis over here. At the very end of the Amud, 4 lines on the bottom, Rashi says, this is the Gemara's question. Again, that was the Gemara's question, in case we didn't speak it out clearly. The question was, once it's 4x4, who cares about the basket? It's Rosh Hashanah and it's game over. So we answer, and that's the reason why when it's above 10 tefachim and Eruv, why do Rosh Hashanah and the Eruv is just a Yachid? Because you're down here in Rosh Hashanah and the Eruv is up there above 10 tefachim and it's no good. This should sound very familiar. These are the same theme that we saw yesterday in the Mishnah. That once it's above 10 tefachim, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good because it's above Rosh Hashanah. And Seifa is the less Meidal Adal Mishamachi Lav Rosh Hashanah, and therefore it is not a Rosh Hashanah, and the basket is Mashlamit Dalit. Let's move along now to Lamegilma Beis. The Rebbe, and Rebbe, you said it's a good Erev, Savar L'Kira Meir, V'savla Rav Yehuda. So he has to hold like two opinions in order to create this Erev. We'll show a picture in a moment. Savla Rav Meir Damar Chaykim La'ashlam, the famous Rav Meir. Rav Meir holds that whenever we have an area which isn't big enough, we're Chaykim, we're allowed to chisel out around it, La'ashlam, to complete the area, the appropriate area to be a Rishos. So even though here it's not 4x4, but the basket creates it into being 4x4, and makes it into Rishos. Actually, let's just show the picture right now. As you see over here, here's your basket hanging on your Erev. So here's what we said: if it's above 10 tefachim, it's no good. If it's below 10 tefachim, it is good. That was your basket. This is really the picture that we need. Apologies. Here's the picture that we need. That you see over here that the tree is not for tefachim. It's actually quite a miraculous picture they did over here. You see here that the tree is only 2 tefachim on one side, and the basket completes it to being the other 2 tefachim. So now, according to Rabbi, we're allowed to view that basket and the tree together as one entity. We chisel out the part of the tree, make it be part of the basket, and now the Erev is going to be sitting in a basket that miraculously is 4 tefachim, even though the basket is only 2 tefachim and the tree is only 2 tefachim. Says Rameir, chisel it out. It's as if it's sitting in an area that is 4 tefachim, and therefore it's going to be a good Erev. That is the opinion of Rabbi, like Rameir. And as well, 3 lines down, Gimel Beis, V'savar like Rabbi Yehuda. Because I also like Rabbi Yehuda, that being an Erev Shel Makkah, Agavi Makkah, Arba V'leka. It has to be in an area that's 4 tefachim, and it's not. That is the end of this piece of Gemara. Again, let's remind ourselves where we came from. We came to prove that Rebbe holds that during Bin Hashmashais is where you're Kaveh the Erev. The Rabbanan argue. How do we prove that? We prove that from the mere fact that Rebbe said that it is a good Erev, and tomorrow, Asr Litlai. Tomorrow on Shabbos, you're not allowed to climb up. And the clear indication was, but today, on Erev Shabbos, you can climb up, meaning it's going to be a good Erev, because during Bin Hashmashais, you could potentially get it. How can you potentially get it? You're not allowed to go on a tree on Shabbos. And that was our proof that Rebbe holds that during Bin Hashmashais, we wave Yisir Darabban, and therefore it's going to be good at Erev. And in order to see that within this price, so we had this case of the basket, and in order to make the case of the basket work, we had to say it's going according to the opinion of both Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda, Chaykin Lahashlim, and that the Erev needs to be in a Makom Chashiv of a Makom Arba. Says the Gemara, my Rav Yehuda. Who is this opinion of Rav Yehuda? Actually, just in case anyone is a little bothered, the Gemara just said, according to Yehuda, Bini Makam Arba Vileka. What's Vileka? Look at the Rashi right here. Rashi, of course, as we pointed out yesterday, our best friend. Rashi, Vileka Beloy Kalkala. Without the basket, it's not 4. Meaning, the Bryce is going, according to the opinion of Rabbi, it needs 4, and the basket makes it into 4, according to Rav Meir. That you say, Chaykim, you chisel it out, and now you have 4. Now, says the Gemara, who is this opinion of my Rav Yehuda? My Rav Yehuda, who is Rav Yehuda that needs the Erev to be situated in an area of 4? They tell you learn to Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda says, not Kaira b'Shazarabim. You stick a peg in Shazarabim, and you put your Erev on top of the peg. If it's 10 tefachim tall, and it's 4 tefachim wide. What's the din? Eruv Erev. Vim lav in Eruv Erev. If it's not 10 by 4, it's not a good Erev. Says the Gemara. 1 second. Adrabah. In this case, if we're not going with the opinion of Rav Yehuda, and therefore it's sitting sitting below 10 tefachim. Sitting below 10 tefachim, why is it not a good Erev? Who cares? That's not 4 by 4. You and your Erev all sitting in the same place. Let's let Rashi help us out over here. Long Rashis. Says Rashi. I would love to find Rashi right now. I'm sorry. Pause for a moment. Here we go. Vimlav ini ruva Erev. Again, this was Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda said that if it's 10 by 4, it's good Erev. If it's not 10 by 4, it's not a good Erev. So Rashi, on the last of the narrow lines, explains. This is what we think right now. This is why it's a little confusing. But let's see. Let's let Rashi speak it out. If it's not 10 tvachim tall, or it's not 4 tvachim wide, in Eruv Erev. We think right now that Rav Yehuda requires the Erev to be either above 10 tvachim or 4 tvachim wide. Ulahachi mataminan, and that's the reason why the Gemara asks on that. Eina gavoya asara. If it's not 10 tvachim tall, meaning what did you just tell me? That when it's 10 tvachim tall, it's yes a good Erev. If it's not 10 tvachim tall, said Rav Yehuda, it's not a good Erev. Said the Gemara, whoa. What are we talking about over here? We have this peg. Let's get the picture. We all know the picture. We have this peg. sitting in Rosh Hashanah. We have this basket, we have this tray on top of it, 10 by 4. Said Rav Yehuda, if it's above 10, it's good. If it's below 10, it's not good. Says the Gemara, what are you talking about? But if it's not 10 tvachim, certainly it should be a good Eruv. Because if it's not so high, where's the Eruv then? Sitting right next to you on the floor. Beautiful. Your Eruv sitting right next to you. What's the problem? Back to the Gemara. So Gemara doesn't understand what Rav Yehuda's opinion is. This is what Rav Yehuda meant. If it is 10 tvachim tall, then you have 4 tvachim on top. If it's not 10 tvachim tall, then it doesn't have to be 4 tvachim wide. Again, not that it has to be that tall, because you're right. If it's not 10 tvachim tall, the Eruv's right next to you, and that's beautiful. Rav Yehuda is teaching us a different din, and this is how it came into our Mishnah. That when the Eruv is above 10 tvachim, then says Rav Yehuda, it has to be in an area of 4 tvachim wide to be in an area of makam chashiv in order to create the Eruv. Kiman, who does this go according to? It's like Rav Yehuda. The Tanya Rav Yehuda. No, it's that was actually the picture that we just showed. The picture of, it's really 2 different pictures. This was really the picture of Rav Yehuda, the Notz Kana versus Rabbim. I'm sorry, this is Rav Yesi, and he put the basket on top. It's basically the exact same picture. It says Rav Yesi, and you put the traskel, the basket on top of it. Does it sound familiar for the Gemara and Shabbos? And you threw something on Shabbos and it lands on top of it. Because Rav Yehuda holds it gets a din of Rosh Hashanah, and it's if you transferred from Rosh Hashanah into Rosh Hashanah, and therefore, seemingly Rav Yehuda's not going with the opinion of Rav Yehuda. Says the Gemara, no. I feel the Rav Yehuda will finish with this. Over there, what's the story that we view? Let's pull up our basket. We view that the sides of the basket, the sides of the basket go down, and therefore it creates that the whole area as if it's 10 by 4. And that's the reason why the 4 tvachim goes all the way down. However, in our case of the tree, you don't have that availability. Because you have your basket up there connected to your tree, you don't have anywhere that the walls could go down, and that is the reason why Rav Yehuda held that once it's 10 tvachim tall, the basket has to itself be 4 tvachim, or like Rebbe taught us, we can say Chayk came with the opinion of Rav Meir. However, it's not that he's arguing on the opinion of Rav Yehuda. It sounds like he was arguing on Rav Yehuda, because Rav Yehuda allowed the basket to be its own rishos, even if it's not 10 tvachim tall. We're answering that it's not true. Rav Yehuda was only because that was a standalone basket that we can view the walls going down, whereas in our case, we don't have any area for the walls to go down, and that's the reason why Rebbe in the Mishnah had to say we're going to Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda, and that's why Rav Yehuda had to say that when it's above 10 tvachim, it has to be itself 4 tvachim wide. We'll pick it up from Rav Yirmiyah Mir Tashem in Shabbos' Daf.